The intention of justice is to see that the guilty people are proven guilty and that the innocent are freed. Only we have a problem here.
Let me start by saying that I have never before made an amendment video. But this was so important that I had to take the time to do it. Now, if you saw my most recent video, you saw that I put out a top 10 reasons why I believe Wendi Adelson is guilty of the death of Dan Markel video. And because of that video, several people sent me emails giving me information, new information, video links to things I hadn't seen. And I am so appreciative when people do that. I learn so much. And to me, when we have mysteries like this in the world of true crime, when we work together, we get so much further way faster. So thank you. Big shout out to Kylee for sending me this video. And huge shout out to Moms for Justice for highlighting the importance of this drive. So Moms for Justice, huge shout out to you. I don't know if it's you in these videos doing the driving or if you found them, dug them up, but the maps, the whole thing, really just critical information to our ability to understand what happened here. Now, there are two ways that Wendi Adelson makes huge mistakes while testifying. The first is lying to jurors, lying to all of us about when she learned of the death of Dan Markel. She tells us that she learned about it in the police car because she starts asking if she's a suspect right away, before she would have learned that Dan Markel was shot.
Why did you tell investigator Isom in your law enforcement interview that you were worried the police, or you were worried, I guess, in the police car on the way to be interviewed, that you might be considered a suspect?
Because I couldn't think of anything bad going on in his life other than the divorce. And frequently the ex-wife is a suspect.
Were you treated as a suspect?
I was not.
But you mentioned 9 times in your law enforcement interview being a suspect, didn't you?
I did, yes.
When you were approached at the restaurant, you weren't yet told that this was a shooting, were you?
I was not.
You were only told something happened with your ex-husband.
I don't even know if I was told that. I was very scared something happened to my kids, and that's why law enforcement was there, and they wouldn't tell me what was going on.
So you didn't know what this was about at all when you were in the police car?
In the car, they told me.
Okay, in the car they told you what?
They said, your ex-husband has been shot.
Okay. So that you learned that information prior to getting into the interview room?
Yes.
Who was your voicemail?
It's from Lisa Carey, who is my real estate agent, or who I had gone with to find a house. She just said she was driving around town and she heard there was a shooting on Trescott.
Yeah, that's what this is about. I'm sorry you had to hear it that way.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if I should,
It's all right, just leave it there. Is it still on?
It's right there.
And you want to just hit play again for me?
Sure.
Hey, it's Lisa Carey. It is Friday, and I feel like an idiot doing this, but I just heard that there was a shooting over on Trescott, and I promise I'm not trying to be dramatic or even nosy. I don't know, just checking on you, my friend. I hope all is well. I hope your sweet boys are well, and if there's anything you need, let me know. It just ran a chill down my spine when I heard that there was something going on Trescott. All right, 212-3083. Hope all is well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
There was a shooting at your home, or your ex-husband's home, at 2116 Trescott. Okay. Your ex-husband, Daniel, all right, has been taken to the hospital. He's not going to survive.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Second, And this is critical. It's very clear, and I myself already suspected that she was lying about whether or not she turns down Trescott and does make a 3-point turn or just keeps going past Trescott because she sees the yellow tape, right? She sees the caution tape. There's discrepancies in how she testifies, between all of the different trial testimony. So that was clear that she's lying because you can't have both be true. You either made a 3-point turn and turned around or you kept going. Which is it? Now, what I think happened there is somebody saw her. One of the cops that were at that crime scene saw her turn around because she had a van, window rolled up. It was very just suspicious. So it stuck out in the police officer's mind at the time. My guess is that she told one story, realized that there was a cop who was telling a different story, and then changed her testimony because of it. Okay, fine. The truth is that because I don't have boots on the ground in Tallahassee, there would be absolutely no way for me to know enough to say one way or the other what was more likely. That is, until now, thanks to Moms for Justice.
So you never turned on Trescott Drive that day?
I went to turn on Trescott Drive, but I saw that it had been blocked off by some tape, and so I just kept driving on Centerville.
Okay, and when you had to turn around at the tape, right, to go back out?
I think I tried to turn right, and it couldn't turn, so I would have made like the kind of turn, like a K turn, and kept going.
Was there a roadblock there with?
There was tape.
Yeah, and an officer was there?
I didn't see an officer, but I did see a car.
A law enforcement marked vehicle? Okay, did you have any contact with the officer?
No. When I left probably close to noon or a little bit after noon, I was meeting two friends who I would frequently meet on a Friday to have lunch with. And so I went to run a few quick errands and then meet them for lunch.
And on your way to meet the friends, did you have an occasion to go down Trescott?
I was trying to turn down Trescott. That's where I used to turn and take just the road I was used to. But there was yellow tape up. And so when I tried to turn, I couldn't turn. So I made a 3-point turn and kept going on Centerville.
And so you encountered a police roadblock at that location?
Yes.
Okay, couldn't go any further because there was a police car and some yellow tape, right?
Right.
And that was, you were able to see that from the intersection there, or you actually turned onto Trescott?
I tried to turn and then I couldn't go through, so I turned around and kept going.
How far down Trescott did you proceed before you turned around?
Just until the tape. I tried to turn and then I couldn't go through, so I turned around and kept going.
So, inspired by Moms for Justice, I decided to map out this route and take a closer look at what Wendi Adelson did on that morning. And it struck me as I'm watching this interrogation video of Wendi Adelson for the first time, or the investigator interview, the first police interview for the first time. It was striking that the investigator questions why she would have taken that route. Like, it doesn't make any sense to him. And in a moment, you're going to see exactly why what she is saying in that interview makes no sense at all, not in any world and not for any reason. But that's just the beginning. So take a look at this. Here is Aqua Ridge Way. This is where Wendi Adelson would have started from, okay? And the restaurant where we know she went to meet friends, called Mosaic, it's no longer there, but that was here. So Mosaic was about 10 minutes away from her house. Now, I did this map at around 3 o'clock Eastern time. So you figure traffic, whatever, approximately 10 minutes, give or take, it's 3.6 miles. Okay. That's from her house on Aqua Ridge to Mosaic. Now, the direct route, that's this route here, that at that time was said to have 3 liquor stores on the route. So Wendi Adelson, who claims to investigators that she was taking a shortcut, she adds 30 minutes and about 10 miles to her trip completely and utterly needlessly. According to Wendi Adelson, she does this because it's the liquor store she knows. Now, I get that maybe some of us may not have been as computer savvy in 2014, but we did have cell phones back then. Google was a thing. In addition to not being clear about whether or not she just does a 3-point turn instead of turning onto Trescott, or if she turns onto Trescott, gets to the tape, and then turns around, let me just show you. I'm going to zoom in on what she says is the shortcut. So here's the shortcut that Wendi alleges to take on that morning, okay? And bear with me here, because if you don't see a shortcut, that's because there isn't one. So here's ABC Liquors where she's going. Her house is up here. She's coming down Centerville Road, right? She keeps saying, insisting that she's taking a shortcut through Trescott, which would have been here, right? Rather than go all the way around. The problem with that is that a shortcut to get to this place over here? So what she says she does is she's driving down Centerville, right? And then she gets to Trescott, sees the tape, and turns around. But before I even show you the route and what it would look like if you were driving it, you can tell just from this map and where that little flag is, because this is Dan Markel's house. There's no way that Wendi Adelson would have seen any kind of crime scene tape. You see how far away it is? This is where the house was. And it's a windy road. It's not a straight shot. So the way she's describing it, she's driving down Centerville, looks over at Trescott, sees the yellow tape, and then decides not to turn. But actually, there's two different versions of the story. In some of the versions, she does make the turn and then realizes she has to turn around and does a 3-point turn, other times a K-point turn, whatever. And then in a different version of the story, she doesn't make the turn at all. She just keeps driving. She sees the yellow tape and then keeps driving. But either way, it's misleading. Now, why is this so important? And this is one of the reasons why Wendi Adelson has not been arrested. On one hand, she tells partial truths on this. Like, she admitted it right away to the investigator in that interview room. One of the first things she does is say, oh my God, I was on Trescott and I had to turn around because I saw the caution tape. And then when pushed in court by Kappelman, she gives two different versions of the same story, right? She says, well, I went to turn, but then I kept going. And then when pushed a little further, she admits that she actually kind of made the turn, but then had to turn around. Like that she went up to the tape and then had to turn around. The problem with that story is that in our minds, it paints a picture of literally making a right turn onto a street being stopped at the end of that street by caution tape and then having to make this tight turnaround. What she does is she leaves out that 0.9 mile drive to the caution tape. But she does tell us that she goes up to the tape. It's just no investigators ever hold her feet to the fire about where that caution tape was. And because of that, nobody ever testifying to where the tape is. This story, she gets away with it.
We are going down Centerville Road right now. And right here, boom. That is Truscott Drive on the right-hand side. Right there is where she says the crime scene tape and police officers were. Okay? And she couldn't turn on to Truscott because of that. So, we're going to start counting the speed bumps to Dan's house. You ready? Going to make a right-hand turn. Now we're on Truscott. Continuing along on Truscott. We have to go 5 speed bumps. Boom. Number 1, speed bump. Beautiful neighborhood. I want you to imagine how long it takes her. 2 speed bumps. By the way, thank you, Illegal Focus, for the amazing footage. They took the drive. 3 speed bumps. It's quite a ways. Don't forget, she said the crime scene tape was way back there when she had to make that turn. 4 speed bumps. Hang in there with me. Yep. It's coming. Here comes out of the speed bump. And I'm going to pause it right there. This is where the crime scene tape was at. This is where the police officer was, and this is where he saw Wendi Adelson do a K-turn. It's a very narrow road, so it was kind of very hard for her to make that K-turn. Here comes out of the speed bump, and I'm going to pause it right there. This is where the crime scene tape was at.
Now, one more thing about this. If the caution tape doesn't begin until the speed bump just before the house, just before where Dan Markel's house was, where her old house was, why wouldn't you be more concerned than she claims she was? Because it wasn't that the whole street was blocked off. It's a whole arsenal of cops right in front of Dan's house, right in front of where her old house was.
This is where the police officer was, and this is where he saw Wendi Adelson do a K-turn. It's a very narrow road, so it was kind of very hard for her to make that K-turn. She stuck out because she was basically hurrying and trying to flee. Okay, here's the thing. Wouldn't you be concerned for your children?
Okay, you went down which road you said?
I went down Truscott.
Okay.
I saw a police car there, and I just thought it was blocked, so I just turned around and drove to, I went down the rest of Centerville, went up Benton, took Benton across, went to ABC Liquors, bought the bourbon.
I'm a little confused. You're up on Centerville Road. What's your purpose of driving down Trescott?
It's usually the shortcut to get to Monroe.
As it turns out, and according to Google Maps, Wendi Adelson's little shortcut actually adds at least 2 minutes to our trip.
To get to Monroe?
I usually take it as a cut through to get to Thomasville or Monroe.
Okay, all right, so
I don't know why I said Monroe. I was thinking Mosaic, Monroe, Thomasville.
Okay, so when you come down into town on Centerville?
I almost always cut through Trescott.
Trescott and just drive by your old house?
Well, I do it as a way of like coming to terms with a divorce, but yeah.
And just for the record, Wendi Adelson initiated her divorce. She was miserable in her marriage to Dan Markel. All she does is talk about how she wants to get out of Tallahassee, get away from Dan Markel. Why would Wendi Adelson be driving by the old house she could not wait to get out of in order to come to terms with her divorce?
Sometimes I drive there. If I'm too sad, I drive around.
Okay.
If the kids aren't home and I know they're not home, I feel better about driving by the house. But yeah, it's shorter and I just usually drive by.
It's actually not a shortcut. It is not shorter.
It's shorter than going all the way down to Benton.
All the way down Centerville and around Benton. It's just a shortcut I always took.
You wonder how long she practiced for this, because she's pretty good. You got to give it to her.
Okay, so you turned around and went back to Centerville, I take it?
Yeah.
Down to Benton, and went to the liquor store down there on Thomasville?
Yeah.
The one at Benton Road?
ABC Liquors, it's at, Benton.
So, in lieu of this development, I am changing my top 10 list to add Wendi lying under oath. And this is just one of those moments that highlights so perfectly how working together is going to get us closer to understanding these crimes, understanding what really happened, and hopefully being able to see justice ultimately be served.
It is the defense counselor's duty to protect the rights of the individual, as it is the prosecution's duty to uphold and defend the laws of the state. Justice for all. Only we have a problem here.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright.